Emma stood behind the cash register at Green's Grocery, a cherished hole in the wall tucked into the heart of her small town. Here each day unfolded like a familiar, yet precarious routine, a dance between balancing bills, shifting cans, and rendering fleeting smiles. As a single mother, she'd weathered a storm of burdens, spending long hours ringing up customers, her fingers constantly moving over the keys while her mind spiraled through a whirlwind of numbers that felt like they were taunting her. The rent was due, the car needed repairs, and her spirited little boy, Tyler, deserved far more than what her meager paycheck could provide. Yet amidst the unending weight of anxiety, Emma held tightly to her value of kindness, believing that small gestures, a free apple for a child, or holding the door open for an elderly shopper, could make a difference. One chilly Thursday evening, as the golden sunlight began to surrender to shades of dusk, Emma's resolve was sharply tested. It had been an exhausting day, one where her spirit felt the fatigue settling in. The bell above the door jingled, a gentle interruption to her thoughts as she lifted her gaze. An elderly man shuffled into the store, his presence drawing both recognition and concern. Wrapped in a weathered coat that seemed to hang like a heavy curtain on his fragile frame, Mr. Thompson entered as a shadow of the vibrant man she knew him to be. His eyes were a faded blue, clouded by the myriad of stories and hardships he carried within. As he approached the register, he placed a small basket, one filled with only the barest of groceries, onto the counter. Emma observed him closely. The way he handled each item was heavy with hesitation. Inside the modest basket were essentials: a loaf of bread, a small jar of peanut butter, and a few other meager offerings. Emma noticed the tremor of his hands and the fleeting unease etched into his face. "Mr. Thompson, everything okay?" she asked gently, trying to glean the unspoken weight behind his eyes. He sighed heavily, a sound thick with a lifetime of struggles. "Oh, Emma, you know how it is. I'm just trying to scrape by until the first of the month. But the bills keep piling up," he said, each word a thinly veiled admission of his hardship. Emma felt a familiar ache within her. She understood that longing for simplicity, the hope for a meal that wouldn't just fill a void, but nourish the spirit. When she revealed the total on the register, $15.63, she saw his face falter, revealing a blend of uncertainty and resignation. It tore at her heart. She recognized that look, that quiet resignation that often accompanied the reality of choosing between essential needs. "I think I can swing it," he said, but his shaky hands betrayed his true feelings. In those seconds, as he fumbled for cash, Emma caught a glimpse of her own struggles reflected in him. How could she allow him to leave the shop burdened by this moment? A flicker of determination ignited inside her. She thought of Tyler's laughter, the shy smile that lit up his face at the sight of a new toy or a favorite snack. The little dreams bustling in her heart, a cozy home filled with warmth, a healthy meal shared at dinner, the simplest joys of life cried out for someone to believe in them. "Wait," Emma said, forcing a smile that masked her swirling doubts. "I'll take care of this one." The words rushed out, buoyed by an impulse that felt both liberating and scary. Emma had only $20 left for the week, a reality already stretched thin over groceries and the bus fare that connected her to work. Yet the thought of Mr. Thompson sacrificing his well-being for mere cents pressed heavily on her conscience. She swept his groceries back toward her, her fingers brushing against the basket's woven edges, a silent oath to share what little light she had to offer. For an instant, Mr. Thompson's eyes widened in astonishment. "Oh no, dear, I can't let you do that. You're already so generous to everyone." But Emma waved him off with a light chuckle. "Please, it's my pleasure. Just promise me you'll do the same for someone else someday." His words of gratitude sputtered out amidst the relief washing over his features, and for a moment she glimpsed a flicker of hope in his weary smile. It was in that small, sacred transaction that Emma felt a shift within herself, as if she had momentarily broken free from the chains of worry that so often weighed her down. As Mr. Thompson walked out of the store, groceries clutched to his chest like a gift from an unseen angel. Warmth blossomed in Emma's chest. The icy breath of the evening air contrasted beautifully with the warmth spreading through her being. In that moment, she began to understand that kindness was a currency of its own, a thread woven deep into the fabric of her community, one that transcended the confines of hardship. As the door swung shut behind him, Emma gazed out the window, her heart brimming with renewed hope. Little did she know, this small act of generosity would echo far beyond the walls of Green's Grocery, sending ripples through her own life in ways she had yet to contemplate. The following day, Emma found herself stationed behind the register of Miller's Market, her mind a swirling tempest of possibilities. The memory of Mr. Thompson's gratitude painted vivid pictures in her thoughts. What if his act of kindness could spark another? As she rang through customers with a rhythmic deftness, the familiar sounds of the cash register mixed with light-hearted banter and laughter, providing a comforting backdrop that temporarily eased her worries. It was in this shared space, where life ebbed and flowed in the mundane, that she found solace. But just before noon, the door chimed, pulling her attention from the checkout screen. Mr. Thompson re-entered the store, his gait noticeably steadier this time, his face alight with an enthusiasm she hadn't witnessed before. He looked as though he had shed a weight from his shoulders, a transformation reminiscent of a winter afternoon suddenly kissed by spring. In his hands he clutched a slightly crumpled envelope, the corners frayed, his hands trembling slightly as he approached. "Emma," he called, his voice bursting with renewed vigor, reverberating off the walls. "I just wanted to thank you again for yesterday. You helped me more than I can express." Emma smiled, although a flicker of curiosity sparked in her heart as she noticed the envelope tightly clutched in his hand. "Please, it was nothing. Just a little gesture," she replied, trying to brush aside the significance of his words. But then again, how often did kindness go unnoticed? No, it truly wasn't nothing. It was everything, he insisted, stepping closer, his eyes sparkling with sincerity. "Your kindness reminded me that there are still good hearts in the world. I wanted you to have this." With that, he thrust the envelope into her hands. Emma hesitated, a swell of uncertainty creeping in what could possibly be in there. Beneath her fingertips, the envelope felt heavier than it should, its weight amplifying the questions swirling in her mind. What if receiving anything in return for her small act would tarnish its beauty? Yet, the urgency in Mr. Thompson's brow and the glimmer of genuine gratitude in his eyes compelled her to accept it, and she did so with a grateful smile. As he walked away, her fingers fumbled with the envelope, curiosity all-consuming. With a swift motion, she peeled the flap open, and out slipped a check bearing a number in bold black ink: $1,500. The figure seemed to dance in her vision, and a thunderous thrum resonated in her chest. This was money she desperately needed, but it was the sentiment, that gentle reminder of kindness returned, which tugged insistently at her heart. Tears pricked at her eyes, and a wave of relief washed over her. This wasn't just a financial boost, it felt like a second chance. A chance to lift herself up from the depths of worry and uncertainty. For the first time in a long while, Emma could envision possibilities unfurling before her, dreams that hadn't just been relegated to the back of her mind. When her shift ended, Emma hurried home, the check folded snugly in her pocket. As she stepped into her modest apartment, Tyler's exuberance greeted her like a sunbeam cutting through clouds. "Mommy, guess what? I made a rocket ship with the leftover cardboard," he exclaimed, his eyes shining with unmatched pride. "That's incredible, sweet pea." "What's its mission?" Emma asked, her heart swelling with joy at his unrestrained imagination. "It's going to take me to the moon," he declared, flinging his arms wide in an exaggerated gesture before twirling gleefully around the room. In that moment, as he spun carefree through their small living space, Emma realized that the kindness she had extended had catalyzed something unexpected. It had rekindled her own dreams. She remembered the aspirations that had been left to wither amidst the harsh realities of single motherhood. Inspired, she settled beside him on the floor, soaking in his excitement as they crafted tales of interstellar adventures together, allowing hope to seep back into the edges of her heart. The next day, armed with the crumpled envelopes from Mr. Thompson tucked safely into her purse, Emma set about making plans. She dove into spreadsheets and budgeting with a determination that had lain dormant for too long. Instead of merely paying off debts, she visualized using the financial boost to invest in something that could elevate their quality of life, a sustainable future. Meanwhile, Mr. Thompson's gratitude began to ripple outward like a stone cast into still waters. His appreciation for Emma's kindness spread through the community. As he recounted the story to friends at the local diner, it ignited a spark of compassion that seemed to awaken something deep within those who heard it. By the end of the week, whispers of community support began to circulate around the market. "Mr. Thompson told me all about Emma," one shopper exclaimed conspiratorially to her friend. "We should do something for her family." A seed of an idea blossomed among the regulars, and before long, a small fundraiser emerged from their shared enthusiasm. The plan unfolded seamlessly. They would sell baked goods, showcase handmade crafts, and even host a small raffle, channeling the community's energy into a collective act of gratitude. On the day of the fundraiser, Emma pushed open the door to the market and was met by a scene that took her breath away. Tables upon tables filled with an array of treats and trinkets adorned the market, a vibrant tapestry of care woven through the offerings. Mr. Thompson approached her, wearing an ear-to-ear grin. "All of this is because of you, Emma. They want to show gratitude for your kindness." Overwhelmed, Emma found herself enveloped by a sea of neighbors, mothers, fathers, singles, all joining hands to foster something beautiful in their town. As Mrs. Klein, a local entrepreneur with a heart of gold, shared her own experiences of struggle, Emma learned of the incredible connections that kindness could forge among them. The event drew more people than anyone anticipated, transforming the marketplace into a haven of laughter, friendship, and camaraderie. People gathered not just to offer support but to share their own stories of difficulty and triumph, forming a tight-knit circle of resilience. "Emma, you have to take this," Mrs. Klein said with warmth, approaching her at the end of the day and handing her an envelope, equally worn from hands that had touched it many times. "We raised a little over $2,000 to help with your living costs. You can't let your kindness go unrewarded." Emma felt another wave crashing over her, her heart soaring with gratitude. This envelope was not just filled with cash, it was a living testament to the connections they had all built. Joy bubbled within her chest as she grasped it tightly, recognizing that the ripple effect of her initial act of kindness had transformed not only her life but had entwined the lives of so many others. As she drove home with Tyler, visions of possibility danced exuberantly in her mind. For the first time in years, she could not only think about catching up on bills but also look ahead, perhaps even finding a better apartment or investing in new school supplies for Tyler, endeavors she had long deemed unrealistic. That weekend, with the money in hand, Emma meticulously sorted her bills. But now she saw beyond immediate survival. She decided to allocate a portion towards a local culinary course that she had seen advertised, a course that promised to teach skills she desperately wished to reclaim. Cooking had once been her passion, a vibrant expression of love that she had buried beneath the weight of daily strife. Months blurred together like the vibrant colors of a sunrise, every week bringing with it new joys and challenges as Emma continued to foster connections within her neighborhood. She organized community dinners, weaving love and kindness into every meal shared, inviting everyone to contribute their skills, stories, and laughter. As the seasons changed, so too did the fabric of their lives. The class she attended ignited her passion for cooking, prompting her to experiment and explore new recipes. Jordan, a neighbor who shared her zeal, began to teach woodworking classes, encouraging others to craft items they could use or sell, leading to a blossoming sense of purpose and empowerment within the community. Emma quickly found her culinary talent blossoming into a small side venture. Encouraged by the supportive community that surrounded her, she began to host pop-up dinners serving her creations to a grateful public who came to appreciate her culinary flair. Each meal was more than just food, it was a shared experience, an expression of collective hope that emanated from the kitchen. Through the veritable tapestry of changes, friendships flourished, anchored by a shared intent to uplift one another. With each act of kindness, another colorful thread was woven into the tapestry of their lives, creating a beautiful mosaic enriched by shared experiences and perseverance. The sense of community enveloped her like a warm blanket, reminding her that even in darkness, compassion could illuminate the path forward. As Emma reflected on her journey, she felt an incandescent warmth weave through her heart. Giving had unlocked a treasure trove of possibilities she had never anticipated, and in nurturing both her dreams and those of her neighbors, she cemented her role as a catalyst for change. Through kindness, she had rediscovered a purpose, a sense of belonging, and the unshakable truth that together, they could rise beyond circumstances and weave a vibrant future filled with hope. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden hue across the community garden Emma had helped organize, a vibrant tapestry of flowers, vegetables, and cheerful voices. Just a few months had passed since the fundraiser that had sparked it all, and now Emma stood beside rows of thriving tomato plants, their fruits swollen with promise, just waiting to be picked. The air was heavy with the scent of freshly turned earth and budding plants, nature's reminder of resilience and rebirth, and every corner of the garden exuded life and laughter, signaling the collective energy of a community coming together. Each plant symbolized not just agricultural growth, but personal transformation, much like Emma's own journey. Neighbors gathered around, sharing gardening tips, swapping stories, and piecing together meals from their harvest. Emma felt their camaraderie deeper than she had anticipated. Months of struggling with isolation faded as joy washed over her. cooking alongside others who shared jubilant tales, rich recipes, and a sense of belonging. With each dish prepared, they broke bread not just as neighbors, but as friends bound by the threads of kindness sewn into their interactions. As market day approached, Emma methodically prepared to showcase her culinary flair. The aroma of garlic and basil wafted through the air, luring people toward her booth like honeyed bees. Her tables were adorned with jars of freshly made marinara sauce, artisan bread sliced thick, and pretty sprigs of parsley that danced in the light of the sun. This was more than just a business venture, it was a celebration of community spirit and togetherness, embodying the kindness that had sparked a shift in her life. "Emma, this marinara is phenomenal," exclaimed Jordan, an enthusiastic neighbor with a penchant for all things delicious, attacking a heaping plate of spaghetti with gusto. Laughter bounced around the booth as families and friends gathered, their camaraderie threading an invisible bond among them. Emma couldn't help but blush at his exuberant praise, the warmth of pride flooding her chest. As the day unfolded, her booth morphed into a hub of connection and activity. Emma offered samples, beaming each time she saw visitors return for a second taste, her heart swelling with gratitude that intertwined with the scent of her cooking. But the highlight of the day arrived when Mr. Thompson approached her, an endearing figure known for his warmth and wise words. His eyes twinkled with delight as he took in her spread. "Emma, this is magnificent," he said, his voice smooth like the finest balsamic vinegar. "You've turned a small act of kindness into a feast for the community." Emma chuckled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, the warmth in his compliment wrapping around her like a beloved quilt. "It's just my way of giving back what I received. I'm grateful every day for your generosity, Mr. Thompson." His face softened, creases deepening as he continued, "No, dear, you've ignited a flame in so many of us. This is how change happens, through acts of kindness. And you've fanned those flames." Emma marveled at his words, understanding how they resonated well beyond their small kitchen. Each dish she presented was infused with stories, her resilience, the community's struggles, the shared laughter, and the connections they were fostering. After the market, Emma moved through her daily rhythm with newfound energy. Everything seemed imbued with a fresh luster. The money she earned intertwined with her rebuilding plan, paying off debts, investing in better kitchen equipment, and saving for the stall she yearned to open full-time. Yet, on quieter evenings, she often invited her neighbors over for simple meals, nourishing their spirits as well as their bodies. As autumn began to settle in, casting strokes of fiery orange and red across the landscape, Emma felt an urgency to share what she had discovered. One crisp evening, she gathered a diverse mix of her neighbors in her living room, a lively group representing various backgrounds, each touched by her journey in different ways. "Let's start a community cooking class," she proposed, her excitement bubbling over. "We can teach each other what we know, share our cultures, and truly connect over food. We've built this beautiful community, let's dig deeper." The idea took root and spread like wildfire. Over a dozen enthusiastic neighbors signed up, excited to share their culinary skills and learn from one another. In a space filled with laughter and mingling aromas, Emma watched her vision come alive. Recipes were exchanged, dishes prepared, and new friendships blossomed with every session, creating a bustling ecosystem of flavors and experiences. As Emma led the classes, she discovered newfound strength within herself, each lesson reinforcing her sense of purpose. More than just meals, they were crafting bonds. Laughter echoed through her kitchen as they wove stories into each dish. Inspired by their progress, they even began planning pop-up dinners at the local community center, using the proceeds to fund gardens, outreach programs, and small scholarships for kids interested in culinary arts. Their potluck event evolved into a cherished local tradition. Children mixed with elders' families shared histories over plates of food reminiscent of their own childhood kitchens. Emma watched in awe as these acquaintances transformed into a vibrant tapestry of support, embodying the culture of kindness she had desired to cultivate since the day she first helped Mr. Thompson. One crisp evening, as twilight cast a gentle glow, Emma stood beside Tyler, a sprightly boy cradling a bouquet of freshly picked flowers from the garden. The community center was abuzz, filled with families enjoying the bounty of their shared labor. Unbeknownst to her, they were about to present her with yet another surprise. "Everyone, can I have your attention?" Mr. Thompson called out, capturing the room's energy with his charismatic presence. "I want to recognize someone special tonight, not just for our wonderful dinner, but for everything she has done to bring us together." The warmth bubbling within Emma morphed into astonishment. She stood frozen as applause erupted around her, their faces glowing with joy and respect. Emma, your heart has created so much positivity, Mr. Thompson continued, his voice carrying its way to her, reaching through the haze of gratitude. You've inspired change, uplifted so many, and your dishes have become a foundation for connection in our community. We wanted you to know how much impact you've made and will continue to make. As her eyes scanned the crowd, Emma saw their faces, the shy nods, the beaming smiles, and the glistening eyes of children. What had begun with a straightforward gesture of kindness had blossomed into a whirlwind of hope. Mr. Thompson presented her with a beautifully crafted plaque engraved with the words for generosity and community spirit. It was accompanied by a collection of donations from those she had touched throughout her classes, a significant gift meant to help elevate her culinary endeavors. Speechless, Emma's heart swelled as tears brimmed in her eyes. Thank you. I don't even know what to say, she finally managed, her voice quivering under the emotional weight. You all have given me so much more than I could ever give back. I am grateful every day for what we've created together. In that moment, she felt a profound transformation, a shift not merely in her financial situation but within her spirit. She was no longer an isolated single mother juggling bills. She had come to understand that every act emanated from compassion, and that kindness held an extraordinary capacity to weave a fabric of connection that not only supported her but fostered strength within others. As the evening continued, the laughter and stories reverberated throughout the room. Families filled bowls of pasta, scooping up generous portions, nourishing their bodies while cherishing the sense of unity that bound them together, each bite infused with gratitude for the journey they had taken. Days turned to weeks, and in the first blush of winter, Emma launched her small catering business, turning gatherings into heartfelt experiences through foods reflecting the stories of her community. Slowly, she began to realize a lifelong dream, one she thought had been lost among the struggles. With every catered event, her notoriety grew, and so did her financial stability. But it was the relationships she nurtured, crafted from laughter, shared meals, and kindness that ultimately fulfilled her. Emma flourished, instilling hope not only in those she employed but within the children who stood beside her in the kitchen, witnessing the magic that emerged from generosity and community spirit. As spring unfurled in the community garden, brushing the landscape with vibrant color, Emma stood among her neighbors, reveling in the joy of life and the warmth of belonging. It was there that she understood the truth. While a simple act of kindness had ignited change, it was their collective spirit that could lead to growth far beyond her wildest dreams. And so, surrounded by the laughter of friends, the sound of unbreakable bonds surrounding her, Emma could finally see the beautiful trajectory her life had taken. The antique bracelet resting against her wrist felt like a cherished badge of honor, symbolizing the kindness that had led her back to herself. Together, they had transformed struggles into triumphs. The power of community thrived beneath their feet, rooted in love and compassion, cultivating the soil for future generations, a blossoming legacy that Emma knew would inspire countless lives to come.